We all have personal issues, such as relationship issues, pressure to take care of kids, some of us, put roofs over our heads, put food on the table. We struggle to save maybe for college or retirement. We have pressures to live a life of meaning, and we experience health issues that bring our mortality to the forefront of our lives sometimes. And then there's issues like war and threats of terrorism, world financial crisis and such. In your experience, how does one keep a sense of peace in all the midst of life's challenges?
Well, first of all, your litany of challenges is very believable. I couldn't find any there that I've not tasted myself, and I think it's a pretty universal list you named there. But yeah, we have to find that balance between the struggle in life and the brokenness and the experience of loss, and of course of mortality, and sickness and woundedness and poverty and all the rest. But we have to find a balance between that and the astonishment, the via positiva. One way of doing that, I mean, there are many ways. One way is, of course, meditation. And meditation comes in many forms. But essentially what it is about calming the reptilian brain. I think that the reptilian brain in us, which is our oldest brain by far, 420 million years old, it wants to lash out. And we want to be careful of that. We want to be able to tame the reptilian brain. Because the mammal brain, which is half as old, 210 million years old, this is the brain of kinship and of family and of compassion. The word for compassion comes from the word for womb in both Hebrew and Arabic. So our capacity for compassion includes compassion to ourselves. Eckhart says compassion begins at home with your own body and your own soul. So we do have to take time. We have to structure time maybe every day, even if it's just a few minutes, to center ourselves, to call up our gratitude for being here, because that's the bottom story. Whether being here is a delight this particular 24 hours or a pain this particular 24 hours, the bigger picture is that we're here. And that's the miracle. There are a lot of human beings that have never been born and will never be born. It's a privilege to be here. And that you have to conjure that up on a daily basis. We have to remind ourselves. And then we have to remind ourselves when it comes to relationships, I have a friend who tells me she has her marriage vows, which they created themselves, on her refrigerator door. And every now and then she has to return there, to get the big picture again.
What a great idea.
It is a great idea. And, vows are very special. I myself am talking now about not the future of the church so much as the future of a spiritual order, not a religious order, but a spiritual order where people would take one vow, and that is to be the best lover or mystic of the earth and the best defender or prophet or warrior defending the earth that they could be. And I think this would be a wonderful way for people to focus their lives. And no matter what they're doing, they're a journalist or pastor or artist or activist, all of us are called to defend Mother Earth and pass it on today. And I think if there were a spiritual order, which with very few trappings and with a lot of communication through the internet and all the rest, but that was our common vow, that would be a very wonderful thing, because it would ground the struggle. There's always going to be struggle. I think the question is the struggle for something meaningful? Is it for something really worthwhile? Or is it just the struggle of surviving till tomorrow? And, I think we all yearn for meaning in our lives. And we all have a vocation today, which is a big deal. It's a calling. It's a calling from the universe, from the Creator, and from future generations, to make a difference. And because our species today is in trouble. And the earth is in deep trouble. We're bringing it down with us. I was just at a conference this last weekend in Florida, and it was about climate change and the rise of the seas. And the first speaker was a scientist who got up there with maps and everything and showed what's going to happen to Florida. In 10 years, there's this much gone. In 20 years, there's this much. And in 40 years, is gone. And yet, how many Floridians, including the governor and two presidential candidates out of Florida, are in complete denial and saying climate change? What, me worry? So, now he kind of depressed everybody. He was the first one up. Then I got up and I talked about the spiritual side. We have to get strong. You have to develop your courage. Life has always been a challenge for our species. Think of that generation that moved out of Africa after about 60,000 years and ended up in Eurasia at the time that the Ice Age hit. I mean, just think about that. Here are people coming from the savannas of Africa, and all of a sudden there's an Ice Age. It goes on for 10,000 years. They didn't give up. They didn't say, woe is we. They didn't say, oh, our original sins did this. No, they had to get to work. They had to kill a woolly mammoth and learn how to skin it. They had to get in the caves to avoid saber-toothed tigers and tell stories at night and all the rest. We come from that tough stock. We are not we're not a woosy species at all, but we can be if we just sit around wallowing in guilt and denial. And so I think that courage is absolutely at the essence of what spirituality is about. And this is what a Dr. King had. The people we hold up, Dr. King had that, and Jesus had that, and all kinds of great figures have that. Well, we must democratize courage today. We have to realize we're all in this with a big heart. That's what courage means. And when your heart is big enough, you're willing to take on the struggles of life.